See My Ability, the podcast of the ARC, Southern Maryland. Last week, we published a bonus episode which featured a call to action, asking everyone to advocate for the ARC and our sister organizations for the benefit of people we support and all Marylanders. This episode, we focus on how we advocate for ourselves. Throughout Maryland, the different groups under the ARC banner, such as the ARC Southern Maryland, have groups called People on the Go, or POG for short. People on the Go is a group of advocates with intellectual and or developmental challenges who use their voices to be heard and recognized. There are chapters throughout our state. POG believes all people should be active in their communities. Here's a sample of a recent discussion with People on the Go Southern Maryland, which meets the first Wednesday of every month. I recorded a virtual conversation of members of the POG Board of Directors as well as other board members, including Dennis Weeden, Suzanne Hall, and Alex Murray. And I'll post an email address in our show notes where you can ask about joining People on the Go Southern Maryland. Suzanne says she and others who have jobs outside the ARC want lawmakers in Annapolis to take their transportation needs more seriously.
The transportation is not accessible. Either people are not getting to their places on time, some of the places are not accessible, or they're not getting picked up at all. So we want to see about maybe talking to our government and say, hey, look, this is what we need to do.
And she's annoyed that equitable access to broadband or the internet have not continued since the end of COVID-19 closures.
Another issue I noticed is that during COVID, we had a program for people with disabilities to be able to have access to internet for a very low cost, about $15 a month. Well, after the COVID, that program, the government decided to end that program. So there's no program at the moment for people with low income. Now, Comcast does have accessibility for people with low income, but the problem is it's not in my area. The cheapest I could find through Verizon is $35 a month, which some people can't afford that. They don't have the money for that. Some of us want to be able to go to college. And imagine trying to type a 150 essay on your phone. It's not practical. Also, I know that libraries offer Wi-Fi, like hotspot. But as you can see, I can see I'm on Alexander's computer because my hotspot is not working. It's spotty. Also, I have to go all the way down to Charlotte Hall, which is quite a drive from here to pick up a hotspot. Because a lot of people want these hotspots. In fact, in Frederick Library, the wait list for the hotspot is 100 plus people.
That's a lot.
That's ridiculous.
A note from the producers. See My Ability has found that there are so many companies that offer a form of internet connectivity and have a variety of policies that it's hard to say that all of our clients and others with IDD are experiencing the same tough issues while looking for affordable IT services or solutions. All we can encourage our friends, their personal support teams, and their families to do is be patient and reach out or call the companies near you to find out the best options in your area. And think outside the box. If you know you are within reach of a neighbor's Wi-Fi, perhaps offer to defray their monthly costs to log in on their network. If you can speak up for yourself, do it. If you find that those who don't know you well are not receptive to what you are saying, people at the ARC and our allied organizations are there to try to help. Suzanne also has a problem with what local and state code says is needed to provide access to the handicapped. Her primary complaint? It does not go far enough and specifies solutions. ARC Southern Maryland's Amanda Weed.
So we did look it up, and it said that there has to be an accessible bathroom.
Yes.
But it doesn't specify what size or what type of accessibility type things it needs. It did say that 60% of the entrances have to be accessible, but it doesn't say anything about like the push buttons or anything, just that the doorway has to be wide enough.
The Arc of Maryland's Natalie Brookes.
Even though we talk about this tri-county area of Southern Maryland, right? Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's, well, all three of those counties might not offer all of the same programs to their residents, right?
Yes.
Each of you live in different places. So what's available to Dennis, where he lives, might not also be available to Suzanne or Alex. Is that a problem?
Yes.
Yes, like in Prince Frederick, if you go and see a curbside pickup for groceries, but then you look at the handicap parking, and that's quite a distance away from from like the main door or the second door for the entrance Safeway. And
Yes.
it's like, why do we need 6 on like curbside pickups, but yet you have 6 of those, and it takes away how many handicap parking spaces that were there?
And I wonder if that's something that you could do with your self-advocacy group, is look for some of these things in the community that should be there, like those push buttons, like those curb cuts. Because I go to buildings all the time and I don't even live in the same area as you, and they're missing the automatic door opener. And that frustrates me, because what if I have my hands full, So it's beneficial for everyone, not just people with disabilities.
Yes.
This podcast episode is being published just before Developmental Disability Day in Annapolis, and Ms. Brookes talked about what lawmakers need to hear from us.
I think it's the storytelling, the stories that we heard from Alex and Suzanne about what they experienced personally. That's what we call their lived experience, right? They lived through an event, but then also sharing stories on behalf of their friends, like the neighbors and who struggle. It's about the storytelling and making the personal connection. And I think that's why People on the Go Southern Maryland is such a valuable group, because you all have stories to tell, and we need to start telling them to the change makers, right? Because they will remember the stories and how a policy, made someone feel personally. I think that's how we make the change.
Like showing up in like writing letters or emails, different things to our delegates to show how different things are like pictures of like, and you write letters and showing pictures of how things have changed and where they should be at to sort of direction, and it's different business and stuff. How they have a high curb. They got all these high curbs, but yet there's no wheelchair accessible low curb.
People don't know what they don't know unless you tell them, and tell them repeatedly. Like our podcast and give us some stars and positive reviews on any of the podcasting apps that you're using to hear us, as well as our webpage. See Me, See My Ability is the podcast of the ARC Southern Maryland. I'm Rita Rich.